Ooh, my turn. My favorite animal is me when I get comments like this. Hi Philip, I'm gonna walk you through how I spent 30 minutes of my lunch break today. Took a look at your profile and there's not really much there. You posted 2 videos, a couple dozen views each, but in one of them, you reach forward for a mug of coffee. My, Philip, oh my, what a lovely tattoo you have there. Foreshadowing.
Hello lovelies, we've been talking about activism and cancellation and outrage and all of that kind of thing quite a bit recently, so I've been looking for a sort of concrete example that I can point to of something that I think is absolutely wrong. And as luck would have it, TikTok served up this person.
Usually it's not this easy, but Philip was courteous enough to use the same username on TikTok as he does on Twitter. Thank you, Philip. How do you know it's the same guy? Well, not only is the username the same, the profile photo is the same, and if you scroll down far enough, he's going like this to some fireworks in the background, and you can see the tattoo. It's tribal! It's tribal! Now that I have the TikTok and the Twitter account linked, I did some digging.
This is unhinged behaviour. To get a singular troll comment from somebody and then to set out to track them down and dox them. And this only gets worse. And yet this creature felt that this was something boast-worthy, something to post online for engagement and head pats and everything else.
So up until this point, I had no idea that your name was Philip. You could have been a Mark. You could have been a Henry. You could have been a Jessica. However, in 2016, you tweeted a yearbook photo. You know how those are, with the row and the names on the side. Oh, oopsie poopsie. With your first name, middle name, and last name in hand. Ooh, it was easy to find that LinkedIn. For some reason, you go by your middle name as your last name these days, though. I wonder why.
Let's be clear here. This is not some sort of apologia for this Philip character. Seems like an asshole. I wouldn't shit in his mouth if he was starving, right? But that doesn't make a difference here. This is the principle of the thing. It's not the target. The target doesn't matter, right? This is shitty behaviour to track down someone's place of work, to go back in their timelines to 2016 to dig up dirt on them. This is obsessive, stalkerish, bunny boiler behaviour, and you know where this is going already.
I'm not going to show the name of the business or your full name, Philip, don't worry, because I know that there are psychopaths online who would send death threats to the business if they found out that they took action against this guy. But just between us boys, Philip, I emailed your employer.
This is shitty activism for a bunch of reasons, but let's just concentrate on a couple here, shall we? Firstly, this creates a whole sort of tit-for-tat situation. You feel that you're justified in threatening other people's jobs, going after other people's jobs. You know, everyone is pretty precarious in their employment these days, and, you know, they're vulnerable to this kind of attack, and you think it's justified. And so you do it, because apparently you think it's okay when you do it. But they do it too. Libs of TikTok has been on a big tear lately, going after anyone who made any sort of flippant or bad taste joke about the assassination attempt on Trump. Doubtless they've managed to get some people fired, and doubtless you think that's wrong. Right, so that's one thing. This creates an arms race of shitty behaviour between two sides that just ends up ratcheting up and ratcheting up and ratcheting up. Secondly, has this ever in the history of ever convinced anyone to change their mind on something? If you got fired from your job because of something you said online and someone complained to your boss, I am fairly certain that would harden your stance in relation to that. And this person with their misogynistic comments, do you think you're challenging their misogyny by you, a woman, getting them fired? Or is that going to harden and deepen their sense of misogyny and victimization at the hands of women? Is it going to have the effect that you want? And silencing them isn't a particularly good effect either, because it just sits beneath the surface, out of sight, out of mind, bubbling away until suddenly it erupts. And lastly, I don't think any of us should be encouraging businesses to police our behaviour when we're off the clock, right? I refuse to be lectured on morality by Coca-Cola or Nestle or McDonald's or pretty much any corporation, really, because they all have legions of skeletons in their closets that would make a necromancer blush. So why, I mean, I'm assuming you're left-wing, like me, so why would you want to give corporations more power over our lives, and specifically our private lives, right? If I'm not at work, it should not matter to my employer whether I'm goose-stepping around in lederhosen and being spanked, or whether I'm a member of the Chertsey Memorial Marxist-Leninist crochet circle, right? None of their fucking business.
That's right. I went ahead and sent them the screenshot of your comment and how I linked your TikTok to your Twitter and thus found your LinkedIn. Because, hey man, if you're comfortable saying that about women, I'm sure the women that you work with would love to know that that's how you think about them.
And who the fuck made you judge, Judy, and executioner? Right? And if you had a job, how would your employer react to being told that you spend your time stalking people online, doxing them, and then conspiring to get them fired? Right? Nobody seems to think beyond the moment or getting their own rocks off by doing this to people. It's sadism, it's not activism.
Who knows if this is going to yield any consequences for you? Because for all I know, the owner of the business has the exact same values as you. But I mean, hey man, it's worth a shot. What if he gets fired? Are you admitting that what he said is a fireable offense? Maybe don't fucking say that shit then.
It's not your place, and it's not an employer's place to police people's opinions or what they say or do outside of when they're clocked into that business, right? And we do not want capitalism to have any more say over our lives than it already does by holding the threat of starvation and lack of shelter over us, right? This is insane, and it only ends up justifying groups like Libs of TikTok to do this, which then in turn justifies people like this bitch to do things like this. His attitude might be shitty, his opinions might be terrible, but there is no law against being an arsehole, and it shouldn't be a fireable offence unless he's doing it at work and causing problems for the other employees, right? By engaging in this, you open yourself up to this behaviour, and most importantly, I must stress this again, this is extremely unlikely to change his opinion, or the opinion of any of his friends, or the opinion of any of the other employees around him, or any of his family who might depend on him and his wage, or anybody in his social circles. Well, what are they going to see? They're going to see a very online, unhinged, psychopathic pseudo-activist coming after someone and getting them fired for an opinion that they expressed outside of work. It is not going to persuade anybody. So the only reason for you to do it is because you get a little sadistic thrill out of it. And that's all. So this is something that people do that is unequivocally wrong. Zang. Hello lovelies, I'm terrible at pimping my stuff, so here I am, pimping my stuff. Please like, subscribe, and most important of all, share, so that people can discover me and all the wonders that I offer.